Hello and welcome to Curiosity Chronicles. This is the follow-up conversation to my last video about Jack and Lily, the two children who have gone missing from their home in Nova Scotia. And so I'm not going to recap anything. If you haven't seen the first part, go watch the first part. These are just my thoughts on the whole thing. This is just my little channel where I talk about my thoughts. I didn't expect anything to blow up in the manner that it did. So just going forward, just know that if you are here with your hate, it's probably going to be deleted. Free speech is free speech, but we also have consequences sometimes. So I've just been deleted anything that is derogatory to the family, derogatory to me, and derogatory to anybody who is commenting here. Okay. So we're, I'm not a big, we got to have a safe space, but I just feel like there's things that, people just don't need to say and don't need to hear or read. So there we have it. When I was watching the father's videos, and I know I said it in the last video, there's something off, something's bothering me about this. And so I decided to go back and watch some videos that were done by parents of other known abducted children. And that's when I remembered that a police detective in the city, I used to live in the city, so I knew all kinds of interesting characters. A police detective had told me many years ago that when they're talking to people or they're interviewing or they're investigating, the things that people say are important, but what he said is actually more important are the things that people don't say. And it was when I was watching these videos of other parents talking about their children having been taken or missing, I realized it's what he wasn't saying that was bothering me, that somewhere deep in my subconscious, I was picking up on things that he wasn't saying. And so it's like, it is a bit about what he did say, but it's also like what he did not say. So first of all, he did speak about the children in the past tense a couple of times. It definitely jumps out. But what is missing, which I saw in most of the other videos of parents giving statements, trying to get their children back, is the pleading with the abductor. If you believe your child has been abducted, the odds of you pleading with the abductor are very high. That's what I noticed from watching these other videos. The stepfather, Daniel, the stepfather of Lilly and Jack, the mother's boyfriend, he pleaded for information, but he did not plead for the children to be returned. And that I thought was interesting, because in other videos you say, like, please bring our children back. Please just leave them somewhere safe. Leave them in a park, drop them off at the hospital, anything. Make an anonymous phone call to the police. Tell them where you've left the children. Just leave them somewhere safe where we can get them back. Or you see a lot of parents will look right into the camera and say, please just bring my babies back. Just let them go. Just let them leave. Just, nothing will happen to you. Just let them leave. Or they'll say to the children, like, if you're seeing this, like, we're trying to find you. We're not going to give up on you. Like, there was none of that from either parent in this situation. And that's what I realized, that's what was bothering me. And isn't that interesting? That there was no moment that he looked in the camera and said, please let us have our children back. Please give our children back. There was nothing like that. And we do hear most parents of abducted or missing children saying that. And he was pretty adamant at the start of the story that they were abducted. So his behavior after that is not kind of lining up with all these other parents. And I'm not saying anything other than, isn't it interesting that that piece is missing? And because remember, he wanted the airports checked and the mother wanted an Amber Alert, even though in her own words, she said it was just so that people would know. Isn't that interesting? Because if you believed that your child was abducted, would you not say, so the whole country knows, so that everybody knows to be looking out for my children, the car, anything, right? I don't think the police thought the children were abducted. I don't think so. Even if they did, they had no information at all to put out an Amber Alert. So there was nothing really to say. The father also was really, really spending a lot of time talking about how stressful this has been, and how, he talked about how he immediately started searching all the streets and the roads and everything, but neither one talked about searching the property. That I thought was interesting. And there was no actual concern on his part for the well-being of the children. The mother did. She said, I hope they feel warm, which is kind of a strange way of phrasing that, but we know that these people are not highly educated, so their style of speaking, their vernacular will be consistent with their socioeconomic demographic. I hope that sounded polite. So they didn't speak about searching the property. And he also said he was like running through the woods and running through waist deep water. You can't really do that. So I thought it was kind of interesting how he spoke about it. And what's really wild is that when you listen to somebody tell something and you listen to the recording like 20, 30 times, the details start to really jump out at you. And he has talked a lot about how much time and effort he's put into the search. Like, he really wants us to all know how hard he's working to find them. He never really says, I've been looking for Jack and Lilly, or I've been looking for the children. He just talks about himself. He doesn't include them in what he's trying to achieve. So this could really just simply be a response to the mom leaving. And this is maybe just his awkward way of saying, I'm still here looking for these children, even though she isn't. That could be the undertone of it. I don't know. The mother has apparently removed herself from the whole situation. At least it appears that way. I am told, somebody had commented in my last video that the police and CPS had told her to leave with the baby, the fifth child. Somebody else is saying that it was his mother told the children's mother to leave. I don't know. Either way, she's not here, and it sounds like in the meeting with the police, she got up and left. That's what's out there right now. I'm sure there's details I don't have, because I spent the last couple hours preparing to film this and haven't been checking the news yet. So I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there'll be a part 3. So as for the school, it sounds like they were at school on the 28th, which was the Monday, and then off on the 30th for what is called an in-service day. Thank you to the person who commented on my last video, because I wasn't sure what an in-service day is. So if you're in other parts of Canada, it's a PA day, which was on a Wednesday. So as a mom in Ontario, I'm like, why is there PA day on a Wednesday? We always have them on Fridays. So there's a long weekend. So yeah, there's some discrepancies in the school story, because some reports say that the children were off all week. Some say they were there. Like, it's hard to tell. We've got a teacher who says, yeah, Lily was there on Monday. There's a bus driver talking. There's a lot of voices in this. And the stepfather started off saying that they did not go to school on Thursday or Friday. Well, of course they didn't, because they were reported missing on Friday. But then it sounded like they weren't in school all week. So I don't know. And I get that, like, these are the kind of details that can be so easily messed up when you're under extreme stress. But it does seem such a weird thing to kind of lie about or make up or fudge a little bit, when these details can be confirmed so easily. All it would take is for the police to go to the school and speak to the office to find out where was this child on every single day. And I don't know about Jack. I don't know if he's old enough to go to school to know if he would be missing. Apparently one of the grandmothers, and this is all information I've gathered since the last video I recorded. Apparently one of the grandmothers, and this is allegedly, I haven't spoken to any of these people, and neither have you. Okay. So let's save it. Allegedly, apparently, one of the grandmothers said the last time the children were seen was when they were being tucked in bed on Thursday night. But, like, was she there? Was she actually there tucking these children in? Because how does she know? Does she actually know for sure? Was she there with her hands on those children, tucking them into bed? Or was she just told that and she's repeating the story? Because that's what a lot of people do. You get told something and you just repeat the story until you believe it, and then that's your perceived truth. So I don't know. So another discrepancy. The parents started off saying they were feeding the baby, and then they changed the story to that the baby was sleeping. And that's why they were in another room, separate from the other two children, from Jack and Lilly. They were separate from them, locked, like with closed door, whatever. Lilly did apparently come in a few times, probably wanting her parents to get up and help them and make breakfast and hang out like the way children do. But my question is, why did both parents need to be in the bedroom feeding the baby if that was actually what was going on? Like, why does that require both of them? One person could feed the baby and the other one could get up and tend to the other two children. So that's a question. And then if the baby was sleeping, why did both of them need to be in there sleeping with the baby and not tending to the two older children? We'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. So the stepfather has said that the children make a lot of noise and he was constantly having to tell them to close the door, the sliding door. I don't know if that's considered their front door or their back door, doesn't matter. But when he couldn't hear them, he got up and found the door closed. But he was adamant that they went out through that door, that as a habit, they don't close. He's adamant about a lot of things. So they're so confident in details, even though they've told the police they were sleeping. Like, the mother seems to know a lot about what the stepfather was doing while she was sleeping. And he doesn't really even mention anything that she might be doing while he was sleeping. So I don't know what that means, but it's curious, isn't it? It's kind of a curious thing. The 911 call was interesting. And yes, I have 4 pages of notes that I jotted down. The 911 call is quite interesting. It was made close to 10 a.m. So like 9:45, something in that time frame on the Friday morning. And yet on that call, I'm pretty certain they said they hadn't seen the children since 8. So it's a Friday. Maybe there's somebody here who can confirm whether or not that day, Friday the 2nd, was a PA day, another in-service day or something. Because when I really sat down and thought about it, were the children not expected at school that day? Or at least Lilly, she'd be old enough to be going to school. Would she not be expected there? Or was Friday the day off? And if your kids were meant to be going to school, at least one of them, wouldn't you be up getting them ready and making them lunch and breakfast and walking them down the driveway to the school bus, anything like that? Because so in Ontario, and I don't know what it's like in Nova Scotia, so hopefully somebody can fill in this blank for us. If my son wasn't in class and he was marked absent, I would get relentless phone calls, emails, text messages, all to let me know that he's not at school, because it could be a missing child, right? Like, that's the whole point, is a child could be missing. And the only way I can prevent this is to use the absence reporting system to let the school know he won't be there, or that he has to leave early. Because if he leaves school before the last class, then he'll be marked absent, and then we get all this chaos with the phone calls and everything. So my question is, do the schools in Nova Scotia have this kind of system where if a child doesn't make it to school, the parents are being alerted in every way they can possibly reach them? Or not? Like, how does that work there? Because that's what's got me, is like, why was the school not trying to find this child? Why was the school not trying to contact? And, because the police weren't contacted until close to 10. And school in most places starts at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, unless it's some special school that they don't go till the afternoon or something. I don't know. But that was plenty of time to initiate a child being marked absent that hasn't been reported to be absent by their parents, and then start the whole process. So I don't know. maybe there's, I'm hoping there's somebody, I'm sure there's somebody in Nova Scotia who can answer that question for us, because I don't know the answer to it. Because that kind of struck out for me when I realized, no, it was Friday morning. Why was the school not looking for these children, or at least Lily? If Jack isn't in school, I would assume he's maybe in kindergarten or something. So yeah, that was another thing that jumped into my mind. I don't know who actually owns this property, but according to reports, and this is where we've got this weird situation. It was the stepfather's mother who asked Jack and Lily's mother to leave the property. Apparently there was a blow up between her family and Daniel, the stepfather, because they allegedly believed that he had something to do with this. And I don't think they're alone in that. There's a lot of conflicting information. The mother's statement, the Jack and Lily's mom, her statement is interesting, and how much she wants us to believe her children would go anywhere with anyone and would talk anyone's ear off, and how good looking they are. Like, she's setting up the abduction story for us. There's many who know the area and have commented here and said that it's so remote that it's not likely a lot of cars would be going through the area if they didn't belong there. Though I did read that there was a report of a black car in the area with a man driving. And I don't know if the police have pursued that lead. I don't know if there's any photos or videos or who reported it. As I was scrolling through 500 million articles, that one caught my eye, that there was a report of a black car in the area. That actually, as I was thinking more and more about that, started me thinking, I wonder if the people involved in whatever has gone on are actually making these phone calls and to the police, reporting things, but making them up to try to take the scent off the family or anybody involved with the family. That kind of had me, I wonder if it was a legitimate person legitimately seeing a car and legitimately calling the police, or if it was just made up. And people say, yeah, but who would call the police about a car? Well, I live in a small town, and all the areas around me are rural and some quite remote. Like, there's, I could drive 20 minutes to somebody's house and still have to go 3 kilometers up their driveway to get to their house. So yeah, these are people who do not want anybody coming by. But when I'm out in the countryside and in small little pockets, I do notice and do see people will check out cars and drivers if they don't recognize the car from their like 10 little houses that are hidden in this wooded area or something. So I do see it. But I just don't think it's very likely that random predators are driving around these remote roads looking for children who've maybe wandered off, that would go unnoticed like that. Yeah. If a car was out there, it would be noticed, but I just don't think that anybody's driving around the countryside looking, just hoping a child will be toddling down the road. Now, I have no confirmation of this at all, but I did see something where somebody was talking about the police were at the home searching under the house or the mobile home or whatever it's called. There's no need to lash out at anybody for not knowing what this type of structure is called, okay? But if you're going to attack me for that, I'll just say thanks for boosting my reach. I don't know if it's like, I don't know what these types of buildings are called. I've never been in one. I've never lived in one, so I don't know what they're called, but I think it's like a mobile home or something, but it's not mobile because it's like on a foundation. I don't know. I don't know what they're called. Anyway, but it doesn't even matter. The home of the children, that they were searching under the house. Don't know what that means, but I'm kind of glad to hear that maybe the property is being searched. Yeah. So just remember that when we are filming this sort of thing, any content creator across YouTube, we are using the information we have the moment we hit record. Okay, so yeah, I'm sure that over the next couple hours, even more information is going to come out. Um, that's fine. Friendly updates are always welcome. And I so appreciate the people who chimed in on my last video to fill in the blanks for us and give us some details, because they live in Nova Scotia or they're kind of familiar with the area, things like that. So I so appreciate it. But if you're going to attack somebody by saying, you don't have the facts, just know that if you sound like you have some facts, I will be sending your name and your link and everything to the RCMP to say you might want to talk to this person, okay? Because none of us here have any of the facts, because none of us are there. But if you're going to attack somebody sounding like you know something the rest of us don't, you should probably be speaking to the RCMP. So, I'm prepared for all of us to be so wrong on this, and I really hope I am. I hope every single person talking about this is completely wrong, and that the children are found safe somewhere in the forest with like a wolf they tamed keeping them warm. That's how I'm hoping this story ends. I don't think it's going to end this way, and I think it's a tragedy that Nova Scotia may never recover from. But my prayer at this point is that they have actually been abducted and that they are still alive and being cared for. There are people out there who abduct children for very horrible reasons. And then there are people who abduct children because they just so desperately want a child that they would do that. So best case scenarios, some kind person has abducted them and is caring for them and wants them to be their children. That would be the best case scenario, but I don't think that's the case, but we can always keep that prayer alive. So the possibilities that most people are considering is that they did in fact wander off into the woods. In that case, they are, as the RCMP have said, they are probably not alive anymore. So there would be dehydration, starvation, the weather, potential drowning if there's like a pond or a little stream or something, and of course wild animals. This is there's the chance they were abducted by a random person driving down the road, right time, right moment. There's that. There's the possibility that one or both of the parents snapped and did something. The mother made a real point of saying that these children are autistic, but not autistic, autistic, but not autistic. And you're hearing different stories from different people about their behavior. And, I think it could be very easy for people who are not capable of coping very well to snap, and perhaps the unthinkable happened. But of course, the most common theory is that the children ate something medicinal, chemical, pharmaceutical, the night that the party took place. And it would be reasonable to assume that that's when they died, and the parents have panicked and concocted this poorly formed story. The sense I get is that there's somebody that was at the house that night who knows very much what has happened. We'll see what comes out. We'll see what the police figure out. I don't know. It would be a real shame if this story just kind of fizzled out and went away. Not for any of us, but like for the family, for these children. Like, this story needs to be kept alive for these children. I did have a couple people say, shame on you for making money off of talking about this. Okay, I'd love to know what money I'm making talking about this, but you know who is making money talking about it? CTV, CBC, Global, all the news agencies that are funded by the government are making money off talking about this story. We want this story out there. We want these things. I think this mystery is going to be solved on social media. I think something's going to come out, and the police are watching social media, and they're going to figure something out. They're going to find a clue. They're going to find a lead, and that's how they're going to get to the bottom of it. So please keep talking about it. These children deserve their story to stay alive. These children deserve to be found one way or the other. and these children deserve justice. So to suggest that people should not be talking about this is a little bit, well, we may pass your name on to the RCMP as well. Anyway, so if that's the kind of statement, most people, there's hundreds of comments. Everybody was absolutely wonderful, except there was a few outliers in there on the last video. So yeah, keep it clean. Let's not be jerks to each other. If you think you know something, speak to the RCMP. You don't need to be lashing out at me. So what do you think happened? Do you think we will ever know? I think we will. I think we'll find out. I think it will come out eventually. Something's going to crack wide open. And but it's a matter of what it is that's happened. That is still on the table, and it could be anything. So let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe and stay curious.